to prevent war in Europe. Meanwhile, in Britain, the Partygate continues to shadow the administration of Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Partygate shadow expected to follow the Prime Minister on Levelling Up tour. Let's take a listen to this report coming from Sky News.
A wet weekend in Bury, Greater Manchester, but the town will soon be brightened up by £40 million from the government's Levelling Up fund. This week, Boris Johnson embarks on a Levelling Up tour of the UK that will include North West England. Here in Bury North, where the Conservatives have a majority over Labour of just over 100, voters are not surprisingly split in their verdict on the Prime Minister and Levelling Up.
I think they should just let him get on with it.
He's going to get himself out of a bit of a ditch, but I just think he's in a lot of trouble and there's no way out for him.
The South will always be the South, the North will always be the North. The South will always get the thicker end of the wedge. It's always been that way and it'll never change.
I think he's done his bit. It's good.
The PM's tour, visiting parts of the UK earmarked for investment, starts in Scotland with a visit to a manufacturing site and research and development projects. But his trip north of the border comes just weeks after the Tories' leader in Scotland, Douglas Ross, called for him to quit over the Partygate scandal. And they're not expected to meet. Cabinet allies insist, however, that the PM is not distracted by the police inquiry into alleged parties in Downing Street.
He will actually be very, very focused on the issues that matter to all of us. We've got a Prime Minister who is now bringing the world together in terms of how we deal with Russia and Ukraine. He's working within this country about dealing with this COVID after problem that we've got, the crisis we're seeing in the health service, dealing with the backlog of that, dealing with the issues that people care about, our energy costs. They're what he's focused on, and that's absolutely right where he should be focused on, because that's what makes our country better.
The Prime Minister says he's getting out of London this week and taking a simple message with him, that his government is getting on with the job of uniting and levelling up the country.
So getting as far as that is concerned, exactly a few seconds to go to 6 o'clock, the time right here on the station. Good morning once again, and thank you so much for coming through. We are here until 7 o'clock. We're just now simmering down into what is playing out right here in Namibia. We'll take a break, and then from there we take you through the weekend crime and incident report.
I choose better conversations. I choose uninterrupted music. I choose smoother shopping. Is choosing better internet not possible due to your contract? Switch to Paratus and we will take care of your contract until it expires. For more information, visit paratus.africa/NA. T's and C's apply.
Always prepare. Paratus.
Good morning. You are listening to the Early Morning Scoop, and thank you so much for coming through. We take you now through the weekend serious crime and incidents report from the period the 11th to the 13th of February 2022. We begin with a case of rape in Otapi. On Monday, the 7th of February 2022, it's around 1900 hours at Okafitu Kakahala village. It is alleged that a suspect in this particular case had sexual intercourse with a 15-year-old minor, a Namibian child. No arrest was made and police investigations continue. In Aranos, a case of possession of dependents producing drugs on Friday, the 11th of February 2022, at about 1800 hours at Ruiduin location in Aranos. It is alleged that a 24-year-old Namibian man, who is a suspect in this particular case, was arrested after he was found in possession of 16 bunkies of skunk during a police stop and search operation. Police investigations also continue. In Mariental, another case of possession of dependents producing drugs on Friday, the 11th of this month, at about 16:20 hours at Takarania location nearby Kasibu shop. It is alleged that a 46-year-old Namibian man, a suspect in this particular case, was arrested after he was also found in possession of 2 full Mandrax tablets to the value of 240 Namibian dollars during a police stop and search operation as well. Investigations continue. In Mariental, a case of possession of dependents producing drugs as well on Friday this month at about 16:30 hours at the new location in Mariental. It is alleged that an 18-year-old Namibian man was arrested after he was found in possession of 2 full Mandrax tablets and 2 loose Mandrax tablets to the value of 240 Namibian dollars during a police stop and search operation as well. Investigations continue. Now we take a look at Opuo. On Friday, the 11th of this month, at about 18:30 hours at Alpha Roadblock, it is alleged that during a police search, a 20-year-old Namibian man was arrested after he was found in possession of best whiskies to the value of 4,800 Namibian dollars. It is alleged that the suspect is a school learner at a elite private school in Omafo. He paid bail to the amount of 1,000 Namibian dollars and is now due to appear in court today. Police investigations continue. In Aroab, a case of dealing in Mandrax and count 2 of possession of cannabis on Saturday, the 12th of February 2022, around 5 minutes after midnight in Hunhoek location in Aroab. It is alleged that an 18-year-old Namibian woman was found in possession of 24 Mandrax tablets to the value of 2,400 Namibian dollars, 13 bunkies of pure cannabis or skunk weighing 25 grams to the value of 650 Namibian dollars, and cash amount of 3,120 Namibian dollars during a police stop and search operation. It is alleged that the suspect ran away, but she was arrested a little later and is now expected to appear at the Keetmanshoop Magistrates Court today. Police investigations continue. A case of rape in Etai between Thursday the 10th and Friday, the 11th of February 2022, at Oshikushashipia village in Etai constituency. It is alleged that the suspect in this particular case invited a 17-year-old Namibian woman, the victim in this particular case, to his room and raped her once. No arrest has been made and police investigations continue. In Katima Mulilo, a case of reckless and or negligent driving on Friday at about 20:30 hours at Katima Mulilo Weybridge. It is alleged that the driver of a Toyota Hilux pickup who was traveling from the west to the east on the Trans-Caprivi Highway along the B8 road towards Makaravan West hit a victim, a pedestrian who was running and crossing the road. It is alleged that the driver tried to swerve the vehicle to avoid bumping the pedestrian, but he was unfortunately too close to avoid the accident. The driver rendered assistance to the injured person and rushed him to hospital and is admitted at Katima Mulilo State Hospital in a serious condition. Police investigations also continue. Now, in the Boboata National Park, a case of hunting without a permit, the capturing of game or any other wild animal by means of a snare has been opened, and this played out on Wednesday at around 1400 hours in Zambezi region. It is alleged that a 54-year-old Namibian man went into the park, set up snares, trapped one buffalo bull, and thereafter killed it with a spear. The matter was reported by a game guard to a member of the Ministry of Environment at Susue Station, who attended the scene with members of the anti-poaching, whereby they successfully arrested one culprit and recovered the buffalo carcass. He is expected to appear now in court today, and police investigations continue. A case of culpable homicide in Ochomwise, as well as reckless and negligent driving and drunk driving, played out on the 11th of this month at around 2300 hours along the Semnioma Drive. It is alleged that 2 vehicles collided head-on, whereby a white BMW with personalized registration number, which was traveling from the east to the west, caught fire and it burnt beyond repair. It is alleged that the deceased victim, Nico N., an adult woman who was allegedly the driver's girlfriend, succumbed to her injuries, and the driver, a 32-year-old man, was taken to the hospital and was tested for alcohol, and the reading was 0.31, and the doctor further took blood for alcohol tests, and he was reported to be in stable condition. The other 41-year-old driver of the double cab Baki, an Isuzu, silver in color, who was driving from the west to the east, was tested for alcohol and it read 0.00, and no injuries were reported, only his vehicle which damaged. The next of kin of the deceased were informed and police investigations continue. Now in Oshifo, an inquest there on Saturday the 12th of February 2022 at exactly 7 o'clock in Uhongo village in Onesi. It is alleged that the deceased person in this particular case was being identified as Nuovo Ndepaopawa Mundukuta, a Namibian, a minor who is 3 years old, died after she consumed sulfuric acid battery water which was left in the room where she was sleeping. It is alleged that the minor victim was left in the care of a 12-year-old child after the parent left the house and instructed the 12-year-old child to use the sulfuric acid battery water to disinfect a puppy's ears, which was attacked by ticks. The next of kin have been informed. Police investigations continue. Murder in Ochimbingwe on Friday the 11th, around 30 minutes after midnight at Alu Ice location in Ochimbingwe area. It is alleged that the now deceased person, identified as Petrus Gary Gaingob, 37 years of age, a Namibian man, started a quarrel with a 58-year-old man while they were drinking a traditional beverage known as jambula. It is alleged that the suspect accused the victim and other patrons of having stolen his pack of meat, and a fight broke out between the two, and in the process, the suspect stabbed the now deceased person with a knife on the head, left ear side, and from there, the victim went home. And the following day, Saturday, the 12th, about 10 o'clock in the morning, one of the neighbors found the deceased person lying on his bed in his ghetto, not far from the house where the stabbing took place, and she informed his family, who reported the matter to the police. The now deceased person was staying alone, and an open stab wound on the left ear side was observed, as well as another stab wound on the left shoulder. There was blood in front and inside the deceased person's ghetto. His next of kin have been informed, and police investigations continue. A case of rape in Katima on Friday at about 2300 hours at Rwanyanda compound in Katima, Molilo. It is alleged that two men raped a 15-year-old minor. It is also alleged that the suspects pulled out the victim from Let Me Try bar in New Cowboy compound to Rwanyanda, where they both had sexual intercourse with the victim after assaulting and threatening to kill her. One of the two suspects have so far been arrested, while the other one is still at large. Police investigations into the case continue. In Katima, Molilo, a case of child neglect. On Friday, the 11th of February 2022, at around 11 o'clock at Chakuzwe Cowboy turn-off opposite Katima, Molilo Cemetery, it is alleged that the mother of a 2-week-old infant dumped the baby alive among tall green grasses a few meters from the main tarred road. It is reported that the baby is currently admitted at the Katima Molilo State Hospital, and she is in a stable condition. The suspect is still unknown and is not yet arrested. Police investigations into the matter continue. A case of assault to do grievous bodily harm, read together with provisions of the Domestic Violence Act, opened in Otabi on Friday at about 3 o'clock at Cap Enbu location. It is alleged that a 32-year-old Namibian man, the suspect in this particular case, assaulted a 36-year-old Namibian woman who happens to be his girlfriend with an unknown object on her right eye, and she sustained a serious injury. Police investigations continue. Now, a case of reckless and or negligent driving reported in Opuo on the 12th of this month at about 12 o'clock along the Mbumbi Jado Moharukwa Avenue at ABBA Guest House. It is alleged that the victim in this particular case, a 10-year-old boy, a grade 3 learner at Opuo Primary School, who was trying to cross the road with other students, bumped against an oncoming vehicle, a Toyota D4D extended cab, grey in color. He sustained serious injuries with an open cut on the right eye and deep scratches on top of the left feet. He was taken to a poor district hospital for treatment and later transferred to the Oshakati State Hospital for further handling. Police investigations into this case also continue. Attempted murder in Vanaheda on Saturday at about 2000 hours at ERF number 1358, Galikani Street in Vanaheda. It is alleged that the suspect in this particular matter, who is the ex-boyfriend to the victim, a 27-year-old Namibian woman, unlawfully and intentionally fired several shots in the direction where the complainant was. Now we take a look at Nkaute. A case of culpable homicide and driving without a license there has been opened on Saturday, the 12th of February 2022 at 12:30 o'clock at Nakazaza Village, Kavango West. It is alleged that the now deceased person, the victim in this particular case, a 26-year-old Namibian woman, Kamenye Rauna Sihako, who was a pedestrian by then, was bumped by a 32-year-old Namibian unlicensed driver of a black Golf TSI who was driving from the west to the east from Mopini to Rundu on the Nkurenko Rundu Road. The next of kin have been informed, and police investigations continue. That's what you're getting as far as the Weekend Crime Report is concerned. You continue to listen to the Early Morning Scoop right here on Eagle FM.
To our valued listeners and all Namibians, we are living in unprecedented times which have seen some extraordinary steps being taken, some of which have suspended the most basic of human rights.
And this is because for the first time ever since our country won its independence, we have been hit by a dangerous virus, which is a threat to our livelihoods, the COVID-19.
The situation calls for us not to panic, but to work together and eradicate the spread of the virus. At Eagle FM, we urge you to always wash your hands with soap or use hand sanitizers,
Limit or avoid travel and respect our laws and obey authority.
We have the answer, and we will fight this the Namibian way. As Namibians, together as one Namibia, one nation. Let's stand together against COVID-19.
All right, exactly 13 minutes after 6 o'clock, and 6 people are said to have perished yesterday along the road towards Ochivarongo and Okahanya. We had a conversation with Sheriff Shonude, who was also quite close to this event yesterday. Let's get right into the conversation we had with him. A car accident about 25 kilometers south of Ochivarongo on the road to Okahanya involving two sedan vehicles.
That is correct,
yes. Can you take us into this report? We're getting information that 6 people have died. Can you confirm this?
Yes, we got a call earlier on today, and somebody who had just arrived on scene said to me that there were two vehicles that were involved in a head-on collision, and the scene looks very bad. We dispatched emergency services from Ochivarongo, and when they got on scene, they had to find a really horrific scene. The two sedans, both VWs, had collided head-on. The fire department had to come out and open up both vehicles due to the occupants being trapped in the vehicle. The Jetta, which was a white sedan, had 4 fatalities. Four persons succumbed from their injuries. The driver of the Jetta is, according to our last report, in critical condition. He was rushed to hospital. And then in the silver VW, I don't know whether it's a Polo or GTI or whatever, they all look the same to me. But sadly, in there was a family, and actually quite a known family. And the wife and the son succumbed to the injuries. The dad is in hospital, and the daughter is in hospital. So it's a very, very sad scene. Also, we received reports that eyewitnesses or somebody had reported that a white bakkie, a GD6, had been actually the cause of this accident. How it was the cause, we cannot say right now. Maybe there was overtaking happening, people swerved out of the way, and the head-on collision happened. This will come out later in the police investigation. What I do know is that the police were waiting in Okahanya and seeing if they could maybe find this vehicle that was alleged to have actually caused the accident and left the scene. So at the end of the day, we have a very, very tragic accident. We unfortunately cannot give much information on the other occupants, who they were they a family, what the situation is. But we know that the 4 people did succumb in the Jetta and 2 in the Golf. And that's leaving 6 fatalities. And we also just got reports of really, really heavy rains between Ochivarongo and Okahanya at the moment with very low visibility. So we just pray that we don't have any more accidents. That is one of the most well-known stretches of road in Namibia for road accidents.
Right. You know, I'm just looking at the pictures right now. The sky is totally overcast, and it shows that it has been raining, and especially along that road there. Do you expect these rains to persist during the course of this week? And what advice do you have, Sheriff?
Yes, it's currently raining as it is there between Ochivarongo and Okahania, to the point that there's low visibility. Like, I got video footage, it's almost no visibility. And we would just like to advise people to rather not travel. If you are caught in the strong rains, rather pull over. Find a safe place to park, because you will not be able to see, especially we have a lot of trucks traveling on these roads that don't have lights on the back of their trailers. By the time you realize there's a vehicle in front of you or a slow-moving truck in front of you, it's going to be too late. You're going to slam on your brakes, it's going to slide, and we will have a collision. Plus, the chances to overtake in such weather conditions is very low, and this is where people take unnecessary chances and where we have things like head-on collisions happening on our roads. Make sure that your headlights are on at all times, especially when the weather is the way it is at the moment. We are blessed with rains. We are glad that we're having these beautiful rains, but we also have to take safety into consideration. And one thing that is very important, besides your wipers working 100%, is to make sure your tires are actually fit and suitable for wet conditions.
Right.
We have a lot of people that do not have the right tires, and this is where accidents happen, because the moment they brake, there's not traction and they slide.
That's
We
right.
had an accident recently in Windhoek where this was the cause of a vehicle going sideways and then being side front collided, where the passenger of the vehicle succumbed to her injuries due to the vehicle sliding in the rain.
That's right. Another observation I've also made, Sheriff, is to say that especially in the city of Windhoek, the rains are also causing potholes along the road. So familiar places, suddenly you find a pothole there and you ram into it. But Sheriff, a very interesting report that you also found over the weekend, a fire brigade truck that got stolen by two daring thieves, and they ultimately got involved in a chase, and then they rammed it into a container. Take us into that. The last time that we were speaking on Saturday, Sheriff, you were saying that one of them is on the run. Can you take us through the circumstances of that particular event and whether at all the other suspect has been apprehended, if you are aware?
Okay, let me quickly go on the pothole thing. People, please take note, there are lots of potholes at the moment because the water has washed away the tar. Sometimes there's water above and you don't realize that there are potholes, so be careful. And if you should hit a pothole, don't slam on brakes. It's going to cause traction, and that's going to burst your tires, break your rims. So with that said, going towards the situation of the City of Windhoek's municipal emergency vehicle that was stolen. You see, these vehicles are parked with their keys in them because they are emergency vehicles. And the last thing somebody expects is for a official vehicle to be stolen, especially off the premises. I think these two people decided this was going to be their escape and their joyride. It was apparent that there was alcohol involved due to the fact that alcohol was found, or bottles were found in the Land Cruiser. These are emergency vehicles used for firefighting and for, in the informal settlements, they have easy access to get into like the ghettos, as we call it, where the informal settlements are, because the fire trucks can't get always in there. And these are very vital tools. Now, these two characters, as I would call it, went and stole this vehicle. They had obviously easy access to get it started because the emergency vehicles leave their keys in. We also, when we're on scene with our ambulances, we leave them idling with the keys in, because you cannot afford the vehicle's batteries to go flat or something, and in an emergency situation, you can't be still looking for keys to move a vehicle or move to another situation.
Right.
So these two men took the advantage of the situation. Reports came onto our platforms. Fire department, in fact, called us because of our wide variety of people that are following us. And the vehicle was spotted. A pursuit was done by the City of Windhoek. municipal police, and the driver collided into a container behind Kwasa Kwasa.
Right.
The one occupant was arrested on the scene and detained. The other suspect fled the scene. Until now, we do not have a report that the second one was caught, but I'm sure the police are going to get it out of the one that they did catch, because he is obviously known to the one that was caught.
Right.
So he's going to have to confess and point out who his partner is. The tragedy of this is now the city of Windhoek has one less community affairs vehicle that is off and decommissioned, because the airbags popped in that, which means that vehicle will be written off by the insurance. Yes, they are insured, but that still is going to be a long setback and a procedure before they can replace and equip a new vehicle. So people must not do things like this. Really, if you're going to drink, go be stupid somewhere else. And forgive my words on radio, but really that is nothing but stupidity. It's selfish, it's stupid, and it's irresponsible. Go drink and fall in a river if you want to, and go and sit under a tree or go and sit at home. But do not go out and do foolish things that are going to cause other people harm. And that is where I believe, where the word says, it is not what a man consumes, but what comes out of a man that makes the difference. And these two men clearly showed that once they are under the influence, they are a menace to society.
That's right, very sad indeed. It quickly reminds us, Sheriff, when we were talking about in 2018, to be precise, we were actually talking about an ambulance belonging to the Ministry of Health and Social Services that was also stolen from the Katutura State Hospital. And the report by that time was that the thieves actually went on a joyride with it. So very daring indeed. But of course, we do hope that the police will be able to catch up with the other missing.
Yes, they did. This is also, I remember an incident last year where we attended an accident. We actually were on the bypass, and a GTI, one of the new city police GTIs, had been stolen at a checkpoint where they were busy holding a road checkpoint roadblock. Somebody climbed into one of the new GTIs and took it for a joyride on the Western Bypass, and then rolled the vehicle and collided with a pole. We attended this scene. And at the end of the day, you know, this is once again, we have protocols, and our protocols forbid us to remove the keys from the ignition in the event of an emergency. And then you get these people who come and take advantage of this.
That's right, Sheriff. Thank you so much, really, and quite a very concerning accident along this road. We'll constantly be in touch with you to get more information out of this.
Thank you very much. And yes, our condolences to the families. And please, people, let's drive safely, let's drive considerately, and let's be wise and save lives.
That's right.
Limonena meumbo ile mongeshefae akulo lo internet talimbiri palele nolishi okulinekerwa lo parates. Parates paife otenje akulo lo pamakwatafando wamidingoro kongashi ondangwa ongwediva no shakati nokukupa owa we data oshoyo akulo lo network la shiako. Tareda po parates.africa/NA nde tolitalele koma yakuro, de tolitalele koma ludi oma yakuro avo. Havayanje ile usaina penabo pa online.
Always prepared. Paratus.
All right, that's what you're getting there. Good morning once again. Journalist John Grobler found himself in a Hobabis jail over the weekend after he got arrested for trespassing, and he was charged, as he says, under Ordinance 3 of 1962, which is challenged as to be an outdated figment of the Namibian law. And he says that he was carrying out an investigation on a farm in the area in connection with allegations that there are elephants that are being smuggled into areas like Dubai. We had a conversation with John Grobler yesterday. Take a listen. You updated on your Facebook page over the weekend to say that you got charged with trespassing under Ordinance 3 of 1962. Just wanted to speak on record. What exactly were the circumstances around your arrest there? Where were you?
Well, I was arrested in Hubabas itself for an alleged trespassing on the farm Mooiplaas, just
about 50 kilometers away from the Botswana border for allegedly trespassing on this farm. I actually wasn't on the farm, but they basically are trying to suppress any information coming out about this highly irregular and highly controversial export of these elephants to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. The elephants that they auctioned off last year already. But for some private reason, for some reason, we were talking about private interest here that's being protected by the state. I mean, I was basically detained and charged by the MEFT and the police for what is actually a private issue. So, I mean, the only thing they can really charge me with is invasion of privacy. But, I really wasn't looking at, Gerry's house or anything like that. I mean, it's just, like I said, they're basically just trying to stop any information coming out about the circumstances surrounding this very strange sale of elephants to buy in the name of conservation.
That's right. And was that part, were you actually carrying out that particular investigation as a journalist? And
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on the elephant story for a week now, and this is just one of two such really controversial, actually three such really controversial transfers. The others, of course, being the lodge at the Seltun and Timbila Lodge, and the others sold to Honesta, which we know to be a representative for Joseph Kabila. So we've been wondering, where these other elephants were, and I picked up information about a possible location, drove out to Gerry Oendal's farm past Monday, and in fact went to see him and asked him. We talked about it, and I told him, look, I would like to see this animal and see what condition they are in, because that's part of the concern about their welfare is, how many of them are going to die as a result of this transfer. These are not tame animals, they're wild animals. They grew up in the wilds of Kavango, and now suddenly they are in this 10-hectare paddock with high walls. They appear to be totally traumatized. Anyhow, and he agreed that he said he would ask MEFT for permission. And what I got back is like, MEFT was saying he must ask, he must give permission. So it was like a passing of the buck to and fro.
That's right. So you
eventually,
yes, you think that your arrest was a cover up.
I told him, look, I have to confirm. I'm writing that there are 22 elephants because there were 2 calves born. I have to, visually confirm that. I can't just make stuff up. So, I wanted to have pictures of them as well because I wanted to see what they look like, what's the amount of cows and bulls and calves, and, what are they exporting? Because the real problem here is that the MFT won't disclose anything. There's zero transparency, zero accountability here.
That's all right. You have actually said the Ordinance 3 of 1962 is a regulation that is outdated.
No, please don't interpret it so literally. I mean, that is tongue in the cheek. It is still on the books and it's still valid. But, for that to be applicable here, they would have had to arrest me on the farm. Not 120 kilometers away and for Barbers. What proof is there that I was actually trespassing on the farm? I didn't, I was not on Oendal's farm except last Monday when I went to see him there. So it's nonsense.
That's right. John, as we come to the close of our conversation, it's not the first time that you get in trouble with authorities when you are carrying out your work as a journalist, and you carried out investigations into money that you say filtered into Namibia coming from companies connected to Mr. Kabila, the former president of DRC, and Mr. Kabila came out to say this is defamation of character, and he was talking about suing you. Where is this particular case? Also, the office of the founding president came out to say you are offside on this report. Where are you on that story?
Well, I still stand by that story, of course. I understand that Mr. Kabila now finds himself in the safety of South Africa because the former chief of intelligence, the DRC, has been arrested for allegedly planning a coup d'etat. So there are very, very serious questions about what that meeting was about in Terrace Bay. Why was Mr. Kabila allowed to enter the country secretly through the Orange River, the Oranje border post, which was actually officially closed at the time? What was this all about? They don't deny that there was a meeting, but what was the content of this discussion, and why exactly was President Tshisekedi so upset about it? Those questions should really be asked of those people who are kind of seeking to dismiss the story out of hand, because they are the ones who have the real answers here. I'm just trying to get to those myself as a journalist, and I'm being harassed in every way that they possibly can, and it's just not fair. It's not justice, and it's not the Namibia that we voted for.
That's right. And as we are speaking, you mentioned the failed coup then in DRC. Republican Guard combat troops in the DRC have already marched through the streets of the capital, Kinshasa, over the weekend, following that failed coup and the arrest of the alleged perpetrators. You say that one of them is connected to Kabila. Can you maybe highlight more on that?
There was an article 2-3 days ago about the arrest of the former, the current chief of intelligence, who also was Kabila's chief of intelligence for the 10 years, or at least for the last 10 years of his rule. And the rumor is, I don't have it confirmed, is that Joseph Kabila has left the DRC for the safety of South Africa. So somebody should try and confirm this. I'm kind of busy with the elephants right now.
That's right, John. Thank you so much. We do appreciate. Happy that you're actually safe. You say that you were in a Kubabi's jail, but we do appreciate you now.
Thank you.
That's right.
Good luck.
Eagle FM lets you express your constitutional rights of freedom of expression without fear of favor.
This is actually, to put it mildly, an economic scandal.
Fraud.
Not fraud, it's a scandal. Why do you give a tender to somebody who does not have capacity to build? Why should you do that? You know a person that does not have a capacity to build.
Eagle FM lets you talk.
That's why I'm always telling people in Parliament, let me not take up my Katatura menace.
Right.
Because I grew up in Katatura. And I will not hesitate to tell you off if it is needed to do.
Be part of the debate by setting the agenda.
My response in terms of Rwanda at 6% is that we had been there before. We've had 6% growth before. It's not something that Namibia has not achieved in the past, and it's not something that Namibia will not be able to achieve in the future.
Eagle FM, the eye.
Good morning. You are listening to the Early Morning Scoop, and thank you so much for coming through. We take you now through the vehicle sales. Electrical vehicles will become the norm. That's according to Simone Storm. As per the report that covers January 2022, a total of 705 vehicles were sold during the month of January 2022, compared to 734 sold in the prior month and 693 sold a year ago, according to the National Association of Automobile Manufacturers South Africa, or NAMSA. Vehicle sales increased marginally by 1.7% year-on-year, and it decreased by 4.0% month-on-month in January 2022. According to Simone Storm, the annual increase was mainly driven by increased purchases of heavy commercial and passenger vehicles. On average, 1,196 new vehicles were sold each month before the pandemic, compared to a monthly average of 734 new vehicles sold post-pandemic. After seeing a sharp V-shaped recovery in vehicle sales during April to May 2020, vehicle sales remained elevated at the new norm, ranging between 600 and 800 vehicles sold monthly. Currently, vehicle sales are below its 6-month moving average and is likely to remain there due to reasons mentioned later. The top 5 brands by market share recovered fairly well, with Toyota and Volkswagen leading the post-pandemic recovery.
Vehicle sales is off to a slow start in the new year, where the number of vehicles sold in January 2022 increased by only 1.7% compared to January last year.
The global chip semiconductor shortage is now expected to persist much longer than mid-2022, with some analysts expecting shortages to mitigate by end of 2023. To provide some perspective, at the end of January 2022, the Biden administration indicated that about 140 American auto manufacturers have less than 5 years' worth of semiconductor chips in stock, compared to 40 days in 2019. car manufacturing will continue to be under pressure in 2022, with Ford already cutting production targets for the new year and missing Wall Street earnings expectations. This, according to Semiconductor Securities, means that vehicle imports into Namibia and stock delivery to local vehicles will continue to be constrained and keeping a limit on vehicle sales growth.
The ongoing shortage of electronic chips and semiconductors globally will put a hamper on vehicle production worldwide, and this will lead to fewer cars being imported into Namibia.
The local market can still be characterized by demand exceeding supply, indicating that vehicle sales would be higher in the absence of global vehicle manufacturing limitations, according to the experts at Semiconductor.
The local market can still be characterized by demand exceeding supply, where local dealerships indicate that they have many customers who want to buy vehicles, but the dealerships cannot source new vehicles given the global supply chain constraints.
Now, talking about the new phenomenon of electric vehicles in Namibia, at the 26th Conference of the Parties, COP26 gathering in November 2021, 30 national governments and 11 automakers, we're talking about Ford, Mercedes-Benz, General Motors, and Volvo, amongst others, pledged to completely phase out the manufacturing and selling of petrol and diesel-powered vehicles by 2035 in leading markets and 2040 right across the world. However, automakers such as Volkswagen, Toyota, and the Hyundai Kia and Nissan Renault alliances did not partake in the pledge. Also, the governments of the US, China, and Japan include some of the largest automotive manufacturing countries who abstained from this particular pledge. In January 2022, Toyota announced plans to invest $3.4 billion in the US until 2030 to establish a new company and build its first American battery plant as part of their electric vehicle supply chain. Should more countries have a change of heart and make similar pledges and the rest stay true to their promise, Namibia will have a significant challenge in sourcing petrol and diesel-powered vehicles in the future. Namibia is a net importer of passenger and commercial vehicles and accounts for a minute share of global vehicle sales, making the local market vulnerable to the extension of petrol and diesel cars in the medium term. If these pledges are honored, according to the experts at Semiconductor Securities, Namibians will have to endure a lifestyle change and adopt electric vehicles on a grand scale. Some concerns for EVs in Namibia are a lack of charging station infrastructure and lack of electricity connections in certain remote areas. Another would be the range of batteries. The average distance between popular towns is about 280 kilometers, and fully charged batteries provide an average distance of 400 kilometers, provided you drive on average 120 kilometers per hour. While the range of batteries has increased in recent years, there remains a range anxiety amongst the consumers who want to travel far distances, implying that EVs or electric vehicles might primarily be used as city cars and not for inter-regional travel in Namibia, according to the experts at Semiconductor. Electric vehicles or EV prices in South Africa average 1.9 million Namibian dollars, ranging from 914,000 Namibian dollars to 3.3 million Namibian dollars for a variety of brands such as BMW, Volvo, Audi, and Jaguar. Hybrids, which have both a battery and combustion engine, are more affordable, but still significantly more expensive than their combustion engine counterparts. Hybrids average 460,000 Namibian dollars in South Africa and ranges between 349,000 Namibian dollars and 577,800 Namibian dollars for brands such as Toyota and Honda. A more affordable option still exists for environmentally conscious consumers and has seen growing interest from local customers. Electric Vehicles Namibia CC offers second-hand Nissan Leaf vehicles, typically costing between 175,000 Namibian dollars and 210,000 Namibian dollars, with an average mileage on the clock ranging between 30,000 and 80,000 kilometers. These cars have been tested on gravel roads in Namibia and performed well, disclaiming critics who argue that they cannot drive on gravel roads. They can drive about 100 kilometers on a fully charged battery, which would make them more ideal to have as a city car. A full charge on a normal 3-pin 15-amp household wall socket takes about 6 hours. Local insurance companies do provide cover on these cars, which was not always the case, according to the Semiconductor Securities experts. Now, international accounting standards will make it mandatory for companies to report on their environmental impacts, and this might also incentivize businesses to buy electric vehicles used as corporate vehicles made available to staff. To this end, some of the local commercial banks have made provision for EV charging stations in their underground parking lots in Windhoek. This was also part of a strategy to improve the green rating of their buildings, making it more convenient for bank clients and staff to charge their vehicles currently free of charge, but also to charge corporate EVs made available to staff. One electric vehicle or EV charging station was launched at Groove Mall in Windhoek at the end of January 2022, using the solar energy from panels installed on the mall's rooftop to power the charging station. A full charge can take about 30 minutes on average. Groove Mall customers may use this charging station free of charge for the next 12 months. Also, BMW has one EV charging station on their premises in Windhoek that is available for client use at the expense of the dealership. According to the experts at Simone Storm Securities, they say, and I quote verbatim, "We are aware of a potential joint venture with a South African company to establish charging station infrastructure in Namibia, which will have a central billing for EVs regardless of brand when registered to charge their electric vehicles at strategic points in Namibia." The local company wishes to remain anonymous, but the project is expected to commence from the second quarter of 2022. The experts have also said, "We also know of a local investor who is planning on erecting charging stations along the Windhoek, Oshakati, and Windhoek-Swakopmund routes." On to the actual benefit of driving electric vehicles, the experts have said, "We compare the cost of refueling a petrol tank to recharging an EV. We assume the average city dweller drives 880 kilometers per month in Windhoek and calculate that monthly petrol costs amount to 1,276 Namibian dollars for a petrol-powered car compared to 894 Namibian dollars for an electric vehicle. Driving an electric vehicle thus saves you about 382 Namibian dollars, which is 70% of the petrol engine cost per month. This equates to annual savings of 4,584 Namibian dollars from driving an EV on a daily basis within the city. The experts have said to drive the same distance, petrol prices will have to reduce to 11 Namibian dollars 18 cents per liter in order to bring the monthly refueling cost in line with recharging an EV's battery. That's what we're getting there. We take a look at the summarization of what local dealerships have witnessed in the EV space. For BMW has seen significant interest from clients with 4 i3s, 2 1.8s, and 1 iX40 being sold recently. They expect a growing number of orders in 2022, especially with new models such as the iX50 and iX60, which have longer ranges. Now, taking a look at Volkswagen, some clients have requested EVs but remain far below current demand for combustion engine vehicles. Maintenance of EVs is complex and must be done by specialized mechanics. Taking a look at Mercedes has received one order for the EQA. However, client concerns remain range anxiety and lack of infrastructure in Namibia. Taking a look at Toyota, no EV units have been sold to date. However, clients are more interested in hybrids. They remain confident that the hybrid segment will grow significantly in coming years. Taking a look at commodities, Benchmark Mineral Intelligence estimates that electric vehicles will account for about 90% of demand for lithium by 2030. The problem is that lithium, also known as the white gold, is also used in smartphones, computers, lubricants, pharmaceuticals, and is used in solar wind energy storage, making this a critical element. Lithium prices have surged 345% in the last 12 months, and over 80% of the world's lithium is mined in Australia, Chile, and China. Other metals that are vital to the manufacturing of EVs include cobalt, which has gone up by 49% in the last 12 months, nickel, which has gone up by about 34%, and platinum, which has come down by about 11%. Most of these price movements will significantly increase the cost of electric vehicles production in 2022, keeping EV prices elevated and higher compared to their combustion engine counterparts. The experts have said, "We therefore do believe the uptake of electric vehicles in Namibia will remain slow, with EV adoption mainly seen among upper middle to high-income customers for now, while second-hand EVs make it considerably more accessible for lower middle-income customers." The experts have said, "We are of the view that supply concerns and brand awareness might keep second-hand EV vehicle sales moderate in Namibia." affordability of electric vehicles will have to improve and converge closer to prices of combustion engine cars. An alternative option would be to opt for a hybrid car, as not all families can afford to have an EV as their city car and separately own a combustion engine car to use on long-distance journeys. Once again, Namibia is not a significant polluter, so electric vehicle adoption by consumers will rather be as a result of trying to cut down travel costs or because the global manufacturing of petrol and diesel-powered cars will no longer be available. That's what we're getting as far as this is concerned.
Hello, Namibia. This is Shea Ulenga, and you are listening to Eagle FM.
My name is Popienika Hukwena from the Let's Work Commercial Group, and you're listening to Eagle FM.
Various families that were evicted from a Dodabis farm owned by Ludi Kova and settled along the corridor area now find themselves in limbo as they are being asked by government officials to move out because their livestock is now causing accidents along the main road. After the government evicted them from Doringboom Farm 4 years ago, the 4 households housing 20 family members continue to live alongside the Dodabis Road. According to the Landless People's Movement spokesperson Aeneas Mvula, from the reviewed video news clips dating back to as far as 2018, these farmers were sent from port to post by the Nampo authorities, Office of the Governor of Commerce Region, and traditional authorities, and a certain Mr. Kutze, who at some point assisted the evictees with access to water for their now drastically reduced animal stock. Consultations, according to Mvula, never yielded any practical results, and it was said that the evictees were not willing to be relocated to one of the resettlement farms around Uamites and Nelsport, south of Windhoek. We spoke to one of them, Mr. Wilfred Kainob.
Okay, since we were evicted 2018. We was in Hartab region. So Dortabes region is another story. This one is not commerce. And in the past 2018, it was a challenge about the government because the government resettled someone else at the farm what the government was supposed to resettle us. Because the farm was so big, and we told the government you cannot just resettle only 4 family halls. And at that time was the minister Alfus Narusep was the minister of land.
Right.
Yes, and he just drove out. We just tell him to drove out and just go and have a look at the farm Belgemut in the Hoogland area. And after he just drove out, he just come back and he just resettled his one of his own family there. And because of that, it was a challenge for us to go to that farm during warm. But because that one also was a government farm. And we were farming there almost for 2 years when we were evicted from the government. Because government, against the government resettled against someone else at that during warm. When the governor, Esme Isaac, told us, Kasiwal just send government trucks so that we must just move to the corridor and then she can access us. And she do that, she just sent the government truck and we was removed from Durham to the corridor. And we was almost there for 6 months. And later we was just start renting because our animals, the animals was dying. And the people around, the neighbors was not giving us more water. And from there, we go to the traditional Afrodi of the Komani.
Right.
Yeah, because at that time, we were still there in Hartab, in the corridor. And the Komani traditional Afrodi told us, okay, there's a farm the side of Dorabes. It's a farm for a foreigner, owned by Richard Reeder. But in that meantime, the Komani traditional Afrodi was having an agreement with the general manager of Marula Game Range. And there was only two people. And in that sense,
I think I lost you there on the line. All right, let me see if I can give you a call again. It seems like I've just lost you on the line. All right, it is raining, so let's see if we can reconnect.
It will start raining anytime.
Right, yes. You were just explaining there. You can proceed, sir.
Yeah, because, the general manager told us to go back to the traditional authority chief. So that he must also talk to him so that he must draft for us a letter so that we can also stay at that place. And at that time, we go back to the traditional authority chief and the conversation between the chief and the general manager, there was a misunderstanding. And later, the chief told the general manager, "Okay, I don't more want to talk to you. I want to talk to your boss." After that, the general manager, he went to the police office. He go to the lawyer, and the lawyer, Cesar Namanje, he just gave us again the eviction letter. And after we received the letters, we are still there. And the general manager go again to the police for trespassing for 3 times. First time, we just go and pay. Second time, we just go and pay. The third time, the police just call also the traditional authority leaders and tell us if it's the same matter for 3 times, then it will be an arrest. So it will maybe better for us to just move out the farm and just stay in the corridor.
Right.
So, and that one was last year. And after the meeting from the police, we just go and call the media, and then we went out. And we are still in the corridor. And the time what we arrived there in the corridor, the first person who was calling us was the Commerce Regional Governor, Laura McLeod.
Right.
He was calling one of our members, the oldest one, the pensioner, and tell him, okay, we have to move to Nawasport. And we told the governor, we cannot go to Nawasport because you even know the situation there. Like now, we have tried and we are farming, but we know there is places what you allocate the people here in Dorabes area. The people who is allocated there is not there. Why can't you not go and send us there? Later, the governor said, okay, if it's like that, then I cannot help you. From there, they just go and send cars here and say the people must pick us up here and take us to Nawasport. I said, we asked them, where must we leave our animals here and get in a car and go to Nawasport? We cannot move from here.
Right.
After that, they said there were no farms. And from there, last year, they bought farms and they advertised the farms. And we also apply. And our councillor, Pete Adams, have also draft recommendation letters for us to be resettled at that place.
Right.
So after that, the government is quite okay. We was applying for 2 farms. Ne? The other one was in Hochveld, and the other one is in Omaike region. The one for Commerce region, for Commerce Hochland, the people was already allocated last year November, December, and the other one from the Omaike region is still hanging. There's still not nobody is not yet resettled. So we are still waiting for the government. First, in the first instance, they told us there was no farms. After they bought the farms, we applied. And after we applied, they are now just quiet again. And since last year, it was winter. The winter is over.
Right.
The Christmas, everything, we was in the corridor. Like now, it start raining. There is no answer from the government. We expect from the government just to resettle us also, because like now, we are farming. It's what we are expecting from government to just help us to get a place to go and farm and get out from the corridor.
That's right. And how many families are we talking about, sir?
Is 4 households.
That's right, sir. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Let's see if we can speak with more of the eviction victims.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Mvula from the Landless People's Movement, in the meantime, has said in its 2006 impact assessment write-up, the Legal Assistance Center confirmed that the country simply has no law that speaks or protects a generation of farm workers from being evicted by old or new farm owners. Mvula also said this is a direct translation that human rights violation of any generational farm worker is of no essence to the Namibian justice system, implying that their lives are not dignified enough to warrant protection by the same law that promotes universal human rights. Quoting from the LPM spokesperson, he said verbatim, "It is our stance that the eviction resulting from labor or factors of any type must be dealt with in the most humane manner, and that the affected people, including children, must at all times be given an alternative shelter." We spoke to another evicted family member, Priscilla Dowsers.
No, we are not yet assisted, and we are in waters now, as I'm telling you. and we are this side of Ochisondo. I think it is 90 to 95 kilometers from Okahanja.
Right. So is there any hope that the government is going to be assisting you anytime soon?
I don't think so, because it's going for it is now 5 years, it's going for 6 years now.
Right. So how are you managing then?
No, we are just suffering because the granny is even a pensioner. She used to pay the cars for water to go and take for them water, and the horses are in the road, and they are complaining. The road authority is also complaining for accidents for the horses. So we don't know what to do now.
Or you do have horses that you own that are also said to be causing accidents along the road?
Yes, the horses are walking along the road because we don't have any place to put them in. And the road authority people are saying it is causing accidents. They must go out. Where will we take it?
Right. So do you know what is going to happen between now and then?
We really don't have any idea because we are still waiting. They are just telling us, wait, but we don't know what to do anymore.
Right, Mimi Dowsers, thank you so much. Unless you've got something more that you want to add?
No, I cannot add many things because it's through the phone. If it was maybe one-on-one, then I could have maybe... Now I don't think most now.
Oh, that's right, Mimi. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. The farm owner, Ludikova, has in the meantime suggested that there is no chance of getting the families back, although he would like to take some names and see what he can do. Sir, I was speaking with quite a number of families that were evicted from your farm in 2018 and now find themselves along the corridor where they're being told by the authorities that they need to move because their horses are also causing accidents on the road there, sir. I wanted to find out, sir, these families are saying that they are in a very helpless situation now. They do not know where to go. Do you have any thoughts of taking them back?
Who are they?
Well, I spoke to one Uma Priscilla Dowsers, and then I spoke to one Wilfred Kainub, and they are saying that they are in limbo. They have no idea what is going to happen now it's raining. They are saying that they are underwater right now, their properties. Just wanted to find out, sir, whether there is any chance of them coming back to your farm at all.
But I must know who they are. So if you can send me their names and surnames, and I can find out when they was with me and why they was dismissed.
But are you not the one that actually evicted them or dismissed them from your farm?
No, I have 3 farms, so I don't know the names that you mean. You must send me the names that I can see where they was.
Are you saying that if we give you the names, there might be a possibility of you taking some of them back? These are the ones that were evicted in Dodabis.
No, not exactly right now on this stage, because we are a potato farm and we're not harvesting on any of the farms for the next 6 weeks. So we are out of production now, so we do not need people now exactly for work. In what job was they employed?
Now, they didn't specify, but they say that they were evicted in 2018. Some of them are victims of another round of an eviction in Dodabis there. And I just wanted to find out, say, maybe lastly, what were the circumstances of their eviction from some of your farms?
No, I don't. No, send me the names that we can see who they was, who they are.
All right. But for the people that you evicted, what were the reasons for the eviction?
No, I don't know.
But you are the owner of the farm. You are the owner of the farm.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yes, but you
send me the names, then I can help you.
You should be aware.
They have some. If they was on my farm and they was dismissed for any reason, maybe they was only temporary workers with the harvesting, and when the harvesting is finished, they went off. He was not permanently employed, so yeah.
According to a report by the Legal Assistance Center, farm workers generally have no choice but to make their homes their workplaces. In addition, workers employed in the Namibian agricultural sector often have little access to direct daily information and formal education and are amongst the lowest cash wage earners in Namibia. As a result, the Legal Assistance Center said farm workers have limited employment opportunities outside the agricultural sector, Given these facts, it becomes clear why the situation of farm workers is often described as a continuous cycle of dependency and vulnerability. Viewed against these perceptions of farm workers' working and living conditions, the Legal Assistance Center has said farm workers' evictions in Namibia have over the recent years received growing attention from government, non-governmental organizations, and commercial farming circles. The center has also said, but despite assumptions that the socio-economic conditions and legal bargaining power of farm workers are less favorable in comparison with other economic sectors, little research data is in existence on the rationale behind evictions and the effect evictions have on farm worker communities. You continue to listen to the Early Morning Scoop right here on Eagle FM. Thank you so much for coming through.
The Early Morning Scoop was proudly sponsored by the International University of Management, IUM, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
This is Wanda, and you are listening to Unpacking the Day. We do this weekdays, Mondays to Fridays from 8 to 10. Join me on Eagle FM, The Eye.
Exactly 3 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, the time right here on the station. And of course, we're coming to the close of our show right here. Wanda is now here to take us into the unpacking of the day. Pictures that have gone viral right here in Namibia of the head of state, President Hage Geingob, alongside Thierry Henry, and some saying that the president must be seen to be supporting local soccer and not to be taking photo opportunity moments with international stars there. But Wanda, we expect the vice president to be delivering the state of COVID-19 as well as the way forward now. Anything new that we can expect?
Good morning, good morning. Is it today, by the way?
Is it not today?
Could be, because they couldn't have put that up if it was tomorrow. Anything new, as in what?
Yeah, anything new at all. Really, we have seen some drastic changes being made in Botswana where...
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's not easy to say. But it's been quiet. COVID has been quiet. We are not talking about COVID-19 as much as we used to, yeah.
Right.
So we can't say it's quiet. Maybe there is something else that will come up.
Right.
I don't know, maybe. Is it the 40th? 41st?
You check again?
40th.
Let me just do a quick check.
For the press conferences, yeah.
Yes. So we don't expect anything much there. I think we have
done
quite well. You never know, but we've done quite well in terms of steering the ship properly.
You think COVID has gone quiet because of efforts that are being done?
Not really, not to say because of efforts, but to
it's
say
like the sun that rises when it feels like, and then sets when it feels like.
Right.
So it can come back
when
it feels like coming back. Then it can go away when it feels like going away. But we can't take charge to say it's because of us.
The shifting conversation right now towards COVID-19 drugs that are being manufactured,
tablets and stuff, pills,
and when the so-called third world countries are likely going to get those.
We are likely to be
another
the
drug
last.
hoarding.
We are likely to be the last because look at the vaccines that are being manufactured in South Africa. There was a story last week about them taking long to be recognized.
Right.
Yeah. So it will take a little bit longer.
That's right.
But we shouldn't take any responsibility. Say it's us. COVID is where it is because of us.
Right.
Now, unless we are taking responsibility of the sun rising and the sun setting, it can blow up to today. And what are we going to do?
Terrible variant.
No, we don't have now. But
if it happens to come, then
it might come.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, have a good show.
Good morning. What is your take?
Let all of us sit around the table, discuss